In the last video, I introduced the pen tool and showed its various attributes. Now I'm going to show you how it can be easily applied in your paintings. So once I've closed a path, it's time to turn it into a selection, which is also known as a marquee. So to do this, I first open up the Paths palette, Window, Paths, and I select the work path. In this case, it's the only path I have. And then at the bottom of the palette, I click the button to turn it into a marquee. And now if I make a new layer, I can paint right inside there. Now to take it a step further, I prefer to automate it with a single button press. So to do this, I'm going to need to bind those steps into an action. The action I'm about to record is going to require a new work path. So I'm going to first open up my Paths and Actions palette, and then make a new path. So once I've closed the path, it's time to make a new action and start recording. I'll call it pen to path. And at this point, you could assign a function key to trigger the action. Okay, so now that it's recording, I'm going to do the two steps. First, convert the work path to a selection. Next, I delete the work path. And that's it. I now have my path converted into a selection, and I've removed the work path so I don't get a buildup of extra paths. So I hit stop. Now that doesn't make for a very complex or showy action, but I can tell you over the past few years, this has saved me countless hours of work. So now I'll show you it in action. I make my path, and when it's closed and I'm happy with it, I trigger the action with one key, and now I have a selection, and I can paint right inside of it. Now if you've been using lassos for any amount of time, you might be hesitant to give this a try, but you've got to trust me when I say that it's well worth the initial investment. Once you're used to the pen tool, you'll never find a more precise way to define a complex edge.